guys, welcome back. My name is Kimberly Penton and this is Perfectly Imperfect, the laundry room edition. Why are we working on laundry room stuff? I don't know, maybe because I wanted to. I got the awesome old vintage laundry board, ironing board at a vintage shop the other day for $3. So cheap. So I'm going to turn it into a sign for my laundry room. Now, you could definitely scour the vintage shops and find your own ironing board to repurpose. Maybe you have a handy husband with a saw and he could cut you one out, or a friend, or you could just get any wide, long piece of wood that would accommodate the word laundry. You're gonna need some equipment, white spray paint that is primer, so you can spray your wood. You're gonna need stencils, a pencil, black paint for the letters, and of course an angled paintbrush for when you're cutting in the letters. It's super easy. We're gonna get started. Let me show you how. Make sure that your room is properly ventilated, because spray paint, it can be a little stinky. Now, I don't have to cover this thoroughly. I just need to get a rough coat on it so my pretty paint doesn't get absorbed into the raw wood. Just kind of go back and forth. Just a light coating, nothing too fancy, doesn't have to be super covered. Just something to give my other paint a little tooth so it will stick to the wood and the finished product will be a lot nicer. Just gonna keep spraying. Okay, so the spray paint is nice and dry, and I'm gonna take a nice wide craft paintbrush and my good old chalk paint that's a really beautiful dove gray, and I'm gonna start painting the ironing board this beautiful dovey light color, which is gonna be super awesome with the black lettering. It's really gonna pop. You could have decided to have left the wood natural, but you know, I like to paint everything. I love to use chalk paint, so I decided why not? And it really popped nicely off the walls, I think. So that's what I decided to do. And it just takes a little bit of time to cover it. You could use a bigger paintbrush, but I don't. And you just keep stroking it on, nice even strokes. Remember to always go with the grain of the wood. And don't glop too much paint on at one time, because if you use too much paint at one time, it's harder, it takes longer to dry. Just a nice, even, thin coat of paint. And it just doesn't take too long. I like chalk paint because it goes on well, it covers well. It has a nice matte finish when you're done. It feels kind of cool when you touch it. And it doesn't take very long to dry, or that has been my experience. So I use chalk paint for a lot of things. I like how it's getting in all the nooks and crannies of this old ironing board that was really beat up and quite worn. It goes perfectly with my old house. I like that chippy, junky kind of look. Make sure you don't leave any brush strokes. Kind of wipe through it on occasion to make sure that your surface is nice and even. It'll just look better that way. And I'll have to get the top painted, and then I'll have to flip the edges up and make sure I give the edges a good go around. That won't be too difficult. But you will want to make sure that you have your surfaces protected, because the paint gets on everything, and once it dries, it's permanent. Easy cleanup though while it's still wet. Just a little bit of soap and a little bit of water. All right. She looks great. Now we're going to let the top dry and we'll hit the edges. It's kind of rough on the edges, so make sure you really get it in there. A little dab. Boom. Voila, we're painted. She's all dry. Now it's time to take your favorite stencil. I happen to get these at my favorite craft store, and I just kind of line them out. I'm just eyeballing it. It definitely is not going to be perfect. It's imperfectly perfect. And I'm just going to use a pencil, and I'm going to trace around all of my letters. And it doesn't have to be too neat, because remember, you're going to go back in with a paintbrush and black paint or a dark colored paint, and you're going to fill in all of these letters, and you'll never see the pencil lines. It's so easy. It's kind of how you get that professional look of a hand lettered sign without really hand lettering. It's a little cheat. I've even used a permanent marker before to trace on my stencils when I couldn't find a pencil. Still worked, the same exact results, and it looked great. And the great thing about lettering your own signs is a piece of wood is two-sided, so you can have one saying on the front, flip it over and do another saying. It's the great thing about stenciling. I took the liberty of going ahead and stenciling out all my letters. And now I'm going to add the paint. You're going to need a couple of different, 3 or 4 different paint brushes. I like a super skinny one. I like one that's got a little bit of an angle. And then one for fill. I never really know which one I'm going to use all the time. And just your favorite inexpensive black craft paint. You could even use dark gray or dark brown on this and it would be totally fine. And I just dumped some in a bowl. Of course, my bowl has to be cute. Notice the gold trim? I like gold. And the first thing I do is I take my thin paintbrush, I just dab it in the paint, kind of wipe a little bit off, and I'm going to go around all my pencil lines. And by the time I'll start with my L and I'll go all the way down to the Y. And by the time I get back, it's going to be dry. You do not have to have a steady hand. That's what gives it the charm. And it looks like you hand painted them, and it's the greatest cheat in the world for crafting. I made a lot of signs at the holidays for my own personal decor uses and also as gifts, and everybody thought that was an artist. I didn't tell them any different. I let them think. Now they're going to know the truth, that I use a pencil and a stencil, and I'm a little bit of a cheater. But we're taking the mystery out of home crafting. We all go to the craft shows and the craft fairs. We're all on social media and we see all the cute hand-lettered signs and pictures, and we think, "Oh, I can't do that." And I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. It's a little time consuming, but that's okay. You just keep tracing around. This is going to look great. I've been wanting to do this in my laundry room for quite a while. And today is the day. Looks pretty good already. If I do say so myself. And it's super inexpensive to do it yourself. A bottle of inexpensive craft paint is under $1. You have a little bit of an investment in some paint brushes. I don't spend very much. I just buy the cheap ones. Of course, everybody's got a pencil. You buy your stencils at a craft store, make sure you have a coupon. And for about $15, I can make my own sign. And I can keep reusing the stencils. I've got plenty of paint to do more signs, you probably got a few pieces of leftover wood laying around, or maybe even pick up some wood scraps from the lumber yard. Inexpensive and a cheap way to make a sign. Now I'm going to leave my letters, I think, looking like a stencil. I might fill in the gaps. I haven't decided yet. That's really personal preference. And if I make a mistake and smudge paint where it shouldn't be smudged, that might be the deciding factor for me. You want to know how I learned to do this? YouTube videos. I'm like, hey, how are those people making all these hand-lettered signs? I thought it was some great mystery. It's not. It's a stencil. A stencil and a pencil. Now everything is outlined. That was super easy. It didn't take long. Now I'm going to lay down my skinny brush. And I'm going to pick up a fill brush. And pretty soon these letters are going to jump to life right before your very eyes. It's so easy just to fill in. You could choose to use a wider brush if you wanted it to go faster. It's personal preference and a little bit of trial and error. Now remember, it does not have to be perfect. This is a handmade craft, and it's okay if it looks handmade. It's part of the charm. And I'm kind of globbing the paint in the letters, if you've noticed, because I like it to have a little bit of dimension, a little chunk to it, because then it really adds to the character of the hand-painted, hand-lettered look. So I'm really okay with that. But again, that's personal preference. And once it's dry, if you've noticed that you've missed some gray spots and they're peeking through your little lettering, you can just go right back in with some extra paint and touch it up, and nobody will ever know. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh. A little bit of a boo-boo. Yeah, I fixed it. Ah, yay! It's all painted. But because I kind of made some mistakes, I'm going to go back with my thin one and do a little patch job. Just a little bit of surgery. And I'm going to fill in all those empty spaces left over from the stencil. Looks better already. And here you go. It's finished. Now it's not perfect, but that's okay, because that's what gives it a little bit of its charm. And it's going to look great displayed above my pegboard. Just imagine that this is my laundry room. Isn't that cute? So I've got my laundry ironing board all painted up and ready to go. And next I'm going to do some washboard art. And this washboard is as old as the hills. It was actually my grandmother's. And we're going to hang it on the wall in my bathroom, in my laundry room. And we're going to use it as a message center. You know all those pieces of paper you find in your husband's pants pockets or your children's pants pocket? Well, I'm going to have a place to now put them so they don't get lost. You're going to need a washboard with a metal section. You're going to need your hot glue gun, handy dandy glue sticks, some button magnets, some cute buttons, and I raided my craft stash and I have an oversized clothespin. Perfect! Because it goes in the laundry room. Super easy. I'm going to glue 2 magnets to the back of my clothespin. Now, I'll have a little secret for you. These are also cute on your refrigerator for holding homework, recipes, or pictures of your family. I just put a dollop of hot glue, place the magnet, I hold it for a few seconds, and then I just set it to the side. I'm going to take my buttons, and I'm going to carefully put hot glue on the back, trying not to let it spill over the edges or through the holes and burn my fingers. Just put that button magnet right in the center. Hold it for just a few seconds. Wipe off the excess glue. And we're just going to make a few more right quick. So I've got some cute decorations to go on my washboard message center. Maybe I'll write a note to my family that says, do your own laundry. Wouldn't that be great? Message center. Oversized clothespin, a few button magnets, and we're good to go. Nobody will miss a message from mom again. Cute art on the cheap. Anybody can do this. It takes no skill. It just takes a little creativity and thinking outside the box. And that's what you've got me for. I'm going to show you exactly what you need. You just need to go buy a wreath form. You use this to make lots of different kinds of wreaths, but we're going to pair it with wooden clothespins that we bought inexpensively at your favorite big discount store. We're going to use spray paint for these because I love everything gold, but you don't have to spray paint anything. And you don't have to make one that's this big. You can buy a smaller form and dye your clothespins blue. Don't you love that shade of blue? It's beautiful. It's food coloring. It was in my kitchen cabinet. I just filled a bucket full of water, put a lot of blue food coloring in it, and I let my clothespins soak in it overnight, dumped them out the next morning, dried them out, boom. It's adorable. And this is just clothing dye. I had dyed some fabric for a project. I had a little left over. So I dumped it in a bucket with some clothespins, let them set overnight, pulled them out and made a wreath. And I really like the imperfections, how the dye is not the same on every clothespin. It's cute, it's country, it's crafty, and you can do it too. And now, I love to paint things gold. I love to paint things gold. So I've got my favorite gold spray paint, some plain clothespins, and I'm just gonna line them out just like so. And then we're gonna go to town. And we're just gonna spray paint an ordinary, plain, generic clothespin gold. We're gonna make laundry glamorous. You will not use these on your laundry. They're just strictly for decoration. I've got several lined out there. I'm gonna shake my spray can really good. And I'm just gonna mist. Oh my gosh, they look great. A little gold spray paint goes a long way. Just hit the sides, because you want the front and the sides to be painted nicely. It's a great thing about using spray paint. It covers well. It gets into those hard to reach nooks and crannies of a clothespin. And when it's gold spray paint, it's shiny. And it makes me happy. And a happy mom is a good mom. We'll just let those dry for a few minutes, and we're gonna start making our wreath. The clothespins are all painted. They're nice and shiny gold. They're dry now. We're gonna start assembling our wreath. You might have noticed a slight change. While you were away, I spray painted this gold just in case parts of it peek through. It's so easy. This has 4 lines on it, and you're going to take your clothespin and you're just going to push it all the way down on the first 2 rings. And about 10 clothespins will fit in each section. So you're going to need about 100 clothespins to do the large wreath. You're going to need about 100 clothespins to do the small wreath because you're doing 2 layers. And you just keep going around and around. And this is very snazzy. This would be great as everyday decor in your home, something extra special for one of your favorite holidays. It takes the ordinary clothespin and it elevates it just a notch by spray painting it gold. Of course, you could spray paint it silver, or depending on your holiday, you could maybe go red, white, and blue for the 4th of July, or do pastel colors for Easter, or do green or red for Christmas, or orange or black for Halloween. The possibilities are endless. It's a very inexpensive craft. The form is only about $1 or $2 at your local big box retail store. Clothespins for 100 are about 88 cents. You probably even have some lying around that you could recycle and repurpose. You could shop your home. Now remember, I only painted the front and the 2 sides of the clothespins because you're only going to see the front and a little bit of the sides poking through. This would make an excellent Mother's Day gift, an awesome teacher appreciation gift. And here we go, the finished product. It's so simple, it's so incredibly adorable, and it literally took no time, effort, or skill to do. You just use your wire wreath form that you can find at any craft store, your favorite spray paint or dye or any technique that you want to use to stain or to color your clothespins, and you take an ordinary, homely clothespin, utilitarian, and you take it up a notch. It's cute, it's charming, and it's perfectly imperfect. Thanks for joining us. This is Kimberly Penton with Perfectly Imperfect. We'll see you again next time.